One critique partner says yay, another says nay. Now, what are you supposed to do with that kind of advice? Hello, fellow writers. I'm Lulu, and welcome to my channel. Every writer has been there. You hear back from a critique partner, and a little bubble forms in your belly filled with hope, fear, anxiety, excitement. A real Schrodinger's cat scenario. You begin reading their commentary and find yourself awash in glowing praise about your genius, your wordsmithing, your unexpected twists, your clever phrasing and interesting characters. That bubble in your belly swells into a star-spangled hot air balloon on a clear July morning, and you're floating on cloud 9. And then, huzzah! Another critique partner has finished reading your work. Still lightheaded from your sky-high ego trip, you eagerly delve into this new wave of insight, anticipating another gust of wind for your sails. Or perhaps some smoke blown up your ass. Oh, a needle is cruelly thrust into your bubble of joy. You're not brilliant after all. That plot twist was just a gimmicky gotcha moment. Also, what's with your main character's stupid name? And why would you use a word like simmer when you should have said seethe? And your use of the phrase snot-nosed brat? Ugh, snot? Really? That word is disgusting and vulgar and totally unnecessary. Gross. Story ruined. Thank you for your insight. I will certainly consider your helpful suggestions. Even as you type out that obligatory thank you note, that little bubble in your belly simmers, or seethes, or whatever. So, what is a writer to do with contrasting critiques? Who is right? The friend who made you feel so giddy you were about to float off your chair? Or the foe who cruelly yanked you back to earth? Honestly, it's probably some of both. The critiques I get generally range from useless praise with very little insight to pointless criticism from someone who takes offense to my use of a word that they had to Google. But there are often dense, meaty critiques between these two extremes that help me take my work to the next level. Though each critique partner comes from their own perspective and likes things other readers hated and hates things other readers liked, patterns often emerge that result in a resounding consensus. 5 of 6 readers said my ending's abrupt. My ending's probably abrupt. 3 thought I was too wordy. I'll make a point to trim the fat. 1 demands to know why I refer to the man in the moon as a he when the moon is obviously a she. Yeah, probably gonna ignore that one. Yet once the critique phase wraps up, we might be juggling piles of suggestions that cannot all possibly be applied. Contradictory advice aside, you can't and shouldn't try to please everyone. You'll end up with the proverbial camel, spliced together into a Frankensteinish nightmare, hacked apart and clumsily stitched back together into a monster you can't recognize as your creation. In the end, your work isn't made for everyone. It's made for you. Take the advice that makes you like your story better. And as much as I hate to admit it, a lot of that advice includes the advice that hurt the most. And no, I'm not talking about the advice that came from someone who obviously hated the story or didn't understand it and wants you to change it to suit their taste. It wasn't written for them. Neither am I going to edit out a word like snot or any other slightly crude word that just offends some delicate flower's sensibilities. That kind of petty feedback doesn't hurt because, frankly, it's a silly thing to be offended by. But the disparaging comments about the gimmicky plot twist did hurt, because I knew deep down inside they were right. However, when it comes to the core of the story, its identity and its heart, that's where I defer to the praise. Yeah, sure, those critique partners might have been so swept away by the story that they overlooked all of the glaring errors. But their lack of distraction with all the narrative foibles allowed them to see what the story was really about, what I'd intended it to be. And even through all the painful cuts and changes, that's worth keeping intact. But that's just this writer's opinion. If you disagree, drop a comment, tell me what I got wrong, like and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and I'll see you in the next video.